amazing.
7:02, we have a full agenda tonight.
Okay.
We're gonna get started.
I'm
I'm just gonna do a quick roll call. I'm here, Bob Scott,
Here?
Hogan, Alex,
Yeah.
Andy,
Here.
Danielle,
Here.
Alita.
Here.
Jennifer. Here. Laura.
Here.
And Richard is online, which doesn't count. Thank you, Richard.
Sorry, Richard.
All right, we have a quorum. 7:02. Does anyone have any changes to the agenda?
Did you say what?
Anyone have any changes to the agenda? I have two. First one is after our first information item, I would like to add as an action item, the election of a member of large. We have a candidate. She's attended 4 meetings. She's online tonight. She's committed to being here in person from here on. That would be Bettina Rasa. So this no Bettina.
Yay,
And as I start asking for volunteers, it'll become clear why I'd like to make this the first action item. The second change I would like to make is number 5. Volunteers to help calculate park points. I'd like to delete that and we'll look at it again next month or the following month. The project manager from the Mid-City Community Plan Update emailed me yesterday to say that they're going to be releasing the existing conditions report sometime in the next 4 to 6 weeks. And the park points are in there, so I think we should take a look at those first before we spend time doing it ourselves. So if someone could make a motion to adopt the agenda as is with the changes.
As amended, yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Second is Alex. Who's taking notes over there? Right. Agenda is adopted as is. We have just a few representatives tonight. Oops, almost skipped over the part again. Communication from the public on non-agenda items. Do we have anyone in the audience? First, I'm going to take the audience, and there's 2 people online, and then we'll come back and take the board. And you have 6. You have 3 minutes. We'll start with you, Fernando.
Perfect. I'll be brief. If you don't know me, my name is Fernando Garcia. I'm actually running for city council here in District 9. So if you haven't got your ballot, please take a look at it. Please feel free to go to my website, garciaforsandiego.com. Basically one of the major things that I want to talk about is really communication with the planning groups. For me, listening to your voice, making you a part of housing, homelessness, part of the decision-making process is very important to me. So I'm going to be here the whole time after the meeting. Feel free to ask me questions, and just want to thank you for everything.
Hi, I'm Vicki Church, and I just want to share with you folks, for those who don't realize, Bonito Drive and Rolando Park had significant flooding in the apartment complex, but over in the Oak Park area, there was at 5301 Choice Parkway on the Oak Park side, house, steep embankment, house above on 52nd Street, had an ADU 2-story put in place. All of the ground was completely concreted and everything over. When we got the significant rains, they came, washed out the embankment, pushed down the fence, threw concrete blocks and all sorts of other things down the hillside to the home at 5301 Choice Parkway. So I just share that because it's a great concern that if there is no permeable surface on the ground of where people are modifying things, unlike what the city used to enforce before, if you made changes on your property, that we can be doing damage to other people's property out there. So I just wanted to share that. It's devastating to see that hillside.
Thank you, Vicki. Any other comments from in person? Online, iPhone, if you could identify yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Becky Rapp, and
I come here tonight as I wanted to comment on something regarding that took place at Mayor Gloria's State of the City address. There was an article printed in KPBS stating that there were a lot of people outside protesting regarding the changes to the SEED program. And the SEED program is a social equity and economic development program. We've been under the impression that the city has been considering 36 new permits for marijuana storefronts. And we, I mean the public, doubling the current number that we currently have. And in a way for an opportunity for more people to enter into the market. According to those that were outside protesting, the number of marijuana permits is now being lowered to 18. So my question is, where's the public, where the public is getting this information, or the industry stakeholders? Nothing has been stated by city staff. Nothing's been posted to the city website or been scheduled to be presented at council committees. So why are industry stakeholders privy to this information and the public finds out through KPBS? This is a land use issue and will drastically affect our communities. And I just want to suggest to this group that you ask for a presentation from the Race and Equity Division, because they are currently overseeing this SEED program. And possibly they could come and tell the public, tell planning groups what they intend to do, because the industry stakeholders seem to know, yet all of us are still waiting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Becky. Ramon, you rebased. Hi, Ramon.
Hey everyone, good evening. Good evening, Eastern Area Communities Planning Committee. I just wanted to let y'all know I'm with Groundwork, and we do know how important the topic is for the fire station for the community and the planning committee. We are trying to organize a media campaign with a public relations individual, which we'll be meeting with him tomorrow. If you would like more information, please reach out to Lynn. She does have my email, and see if y'all would like to participate or join our media campaign for the near future.
Thanks, Ramon. Any other non-agenda comments?
Okay.
Sorry, some board members. Laura?
I just wanted to let everybody know that Teen Challenge is having their silent auction next month on the 23rd of March. They support us so well. I want you guys to all make sure that you get this information out to your community so it can be very successful. Okay, March 23rd, silent auction here at Teen Challenge. And I have a few extras if you would like them, so you can get the word out.
Is there a flyer? I'm sorry. Online? Can they provide us with that?
There probably is information online.
Oh,
Yes.
that's Mike.
Yeah, it looks
But
like
I
it's teachallenge.org, San Diego caution.
It would be great if we could all show up and people in our community could all be noticed.
Sure.
Okay.
Thanks, Laura.
By my thumb.
Me?
Yes.
By
Oh,
my
you
thumb.
thought- I can't see that.
Alita?
Oh.
Behalf of the Friends of the Oak Park Library, Oak Park Community Council, we don't have a budget, but I want to present this to you. Congratulations on being selected by E9 for being a community wonderful person. Yay.
Yay.
I found them.
You didn't go to
Queen
D9?
D9.
Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't, yeah.
You have to scroll down.
Sorry.
And then-
I did get it though from Jeffrey.
You can
I
always
just
show
haven't
me
read it.
later.
You scroll down.
To be getting a I'll give you address.
You scroll down.
Thank you.
Okay. Shoot, I missed
Thanks,
it.
everyone. I appreciate that. I do.
Oh.
We're gonna move on to our community representative reports, and first up is Kate Needham Cano. And if you don't know Kate, she's online tonight, and she's a new representative from Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs' office. Hi, Kate.
Hi, thank you so much. Sorry I'm not there today. I'm getting over being sick, so I figured I could still come and see all of you and not get anyone my germs. So very quick update for Washington, D.C. House is back in session. Votes are being done all week long. Last week, the Congresswoman voted to pass legislation that would help families make ends meet, boosting affordable housing, spurring innovation, and she's always focusing on the child tax credit and child care initiatives. And she's also looking for input about what's important to constituents. So if you ever have a chance to hop on our website, sarahjacobs.house.gov, and click on the button that says surveys, let us know what your top priorities are for the year. That's very helpful for us to make sure that we're aligning with what the constituents want and need. Most importantly, I think I want to mention about the flooding and what's going on in the district. The Congresswoman led the letter to President Biden with the rest of the congressional delegation in the area, asking for him to declare a state of emergency so everyone can get funding from FEMA to help with much needed repairs to businesses and homes. FEMA did come out and evaluate, so we're still waiting to see if we have met the threshold. And as soon as we get news about that, we will certainly release that via all of our social media. And you can certainly just ping me privately. Lynn has all of my contact information if you have any additional questions or concerns about that. We will continue to be in contact with FEMA for for Region 9 to stay on top of the subject. And that's pretty much all that's going on right now. We're really focusing on the repair of the damages with the flooding.
Okay, thank you very much, Kate. Appreciate it. Roberto Marin, our District 9 representative for Councilmember Shawnee.
Good evening. How are y'all? Hopefully it's not raining, so hopefully a little better now. Roberto Marin, Committee Rep for Council District 9, Council President Ela Rivera. A couple updates. I'm going to be very brief, unlike other times. I'm going to try to limit because we got in trouble. So basically, the floods. I think it's really important to acknowledge that, and really the devastation that I saw. I mean, I'll be honest, I worked 17 days straight, as I mentioned to Vicky. 17 days straight, 14-hour days in the ground, day in and day out. When the floods first happened, Council President and I were actually in literal dress pants, walking in thick mud in Mountain View, in Stockton, in Rolando Park. It's been a lot for me. And I think as a community, you know, it shows that we are resilient, and that while the city, I'll be honest, the city failed all of us. It failed. And that's someone from the city saying that they failed, and they failed point blank. And so what we have to do is just recollect, reconvene, and just provide resources to those folks. Bonillo Drive, as Vicky mentioned, was hit the hardest, 57 units. You had over 100 families right now, and they're semi in limbo with the vouchers. So we're really looking at innovative ways, working with the Housing Commission, working with the county, working with federal, state, and local partners to make sure that those folks get housing. So it's been a lot for us, but in that case, I'll pivot to Rolando Village. Their undergrounding is going to be complete within the next 2 weeks, which means that paving will commence after that. Paving will commence all around where Seminole, we got Estelle, we have Reveal Drive, we have all those in and around will be paved. And I'll give more information at the Rolando Community Council meeting next time. El Cerrito, I believe Jeff mentioned to you, Laura, that they're going to put Hawks on 58th, and that is proceeding. They're going to install that within a couple weeks. Just stay tuned with that, and Jeffrey wanted me to let you know about that as well.
Good.
Yeah.
We were talking yesterday.
Yeah. Redwood Village, real quick, there were some issues with Streamview, so we're gathering what's new with Streamview.
Yeah.
We're gathering city staff. Lucero's out right now, so that's why she's not here, but we're going to get the mayor's office, get all departments, and we're going to actually meet at Streamview so that they can hopefully see all the junk that is hopefully there. So we're convening that. Rolando Park, Council President was there last night, spoke about a lot of topics, spoke about the floods and just the frustration that we have with the infrastructure and where those dollars are going. And I know folks are concerned about the transparency. We are as well. We want to make sure that those dollars come to District 9, and that's why we're going to keep advocating during the budget season. Last thing I want to know, I really want you guys to know that I'm going to be providing budget dates for y'all, and I really encourage you to really come out and speak your voice, right? I'm put it blank. There's folks in La Jolla that are getting more. There's folks in Scripps Ranch that are getting more, right? We need funding here. We have been neglected for far too long, and we need to raise our voice and really give constituents the infrastructure, the safe streets, the homeless, more options, because quite frankly, we're getting sucked out of our funds. So I'm going to encourage y'all to step up to the plate. I'll be there and happy to guide you. So that's pretty much it for me. I don't know if you have any specific questions, comments, concerns, Lynn.
I actually do, and it's about the housing vouchers for the Village Green apartments. When do you think they'll know?
So Council President Lisa Jones from the Housing Commission, Chairwoman Vargas, we're meeting actually tonight, an emergency meeting, private meeting. So I'm actually going to hopefully get information tonight, if not tomorrow morning. We're definitely going to be working with Village Green. We have a meeting with them on Thursday. So if we don't have an answer by tomorrow, we'll definitely have an answer by Thursday for them. So
Yeah. Keep me posted. Any other questions?
Derek?
I'm just concerned about this flooding. Because the city has up here at the landfill, they got more bulldozers than Caterpillar cranks out. And they could have been down there pushing that mud away. I see them ride around in the trucks with the music on and carrying on. I hear about what the mayor says he's gonna do. Bulldozers would have cleaned that out. Every place we had a problem, including down at the border. But nobody seems to want to address that.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. We've asked for dredging. Lynn and I have been working together since late October. We literally been asking the departments, and I have the receipts. I'm not afraid to show them. They finally dredged a week prior to the flooding, and it still flooded that bad. Can you just imagine if they didn't dredge anything? I don't even want to get to that scenario because it would be awful and horrendous. So we've been pushing. We got it dredged. And we're going to keep pushing, and we're going to keep pushing because quite frankly, it's unacceptable for someone to have basically a channel that's not getting cleared out. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's not right. And when we go to other places in the city, they're clean, but for some reason, D9, D8, and D4, they've never been clean. So we're going to keep fighting for that.
Thank you very much, Roberto. Next, Sam Gonzalez from State Assembly Member Dr. Akila Weber's office. Hi, Sam. Nice to
Hi,
see
good
you.
evening, everyone. Nice to see you virtually. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Nice. I do have a couple of updates. Feel free to interrupt me at any point if you have questions. The first update is that our office is launching our Youth Legislators program. This is a program tailored for sophomores and juniors in high school. So if you know anyone who might be interested in, I would be there in person giving you a copy, but I'm not there. So I'll forward the information to Lynn, and hopefully she can share it out with you guys, or you can follow up with me directly. I'll leave my email in the chat after I end up speaking. But this is a program designated to help our youth get more involved with public service, learn a bit more about the legislative process at the state level, local level, and federal level. At the end of this 6-month program, which is one time a month type of meeting, kind of like a community meeting, our youth will have the chance to present a bill idea to the assembly member, and hopefully they'll see their their work come to life. The second update is we have a new senior advisory council that our office is launching. So I'm not the lead on that, but I do know we have a lengthy packet you need to fill out. The application is online as well on our website. This senior advisory council, the purpose of this is for the assembly member to have people who have been in the community for long periods of time and are interested in giving her the senior perspective. That is something that our office acknowledges is missing, and something that the assembly member wants to hear more from as she continues working in the legislative process. The third update I have is that our office is seeking nominations for the recognitions of Women of the Year and Women of Distinction. So Women of the Year, you can nominate anyone you want, as long as they have a record of community service, or they own a small business. That one's a pretty general nomination category. The second one, though, Women of Distinction, that one's a bit more precise. They need to be either in the field of arts and sciences, health, medicine, or education. So if you know anyone who might be interested, please send them my way, and I can help them with the process. And any questions or comments?
Questions?
I can only see like half of the room from here, so. Okay.
Toss it out the viewers.
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
John?
Question about the senior advisory panel. How many positions are that? Is that for seniors?
Correct. That's a good question. So I'll be honest, we don't have an exact number that we're trying to fill. It's more of like, let's see who shows up, and we'll work with the applications that we get to see, if every applicant turns out to be a perfect advisory member, I'm sure the member will say, great, put them all in. So to be determined would be the answer I'd give you.
One more thing, how old is a senior these days?
That's a great question.
What is it
Our
start?
office
What
spent
is it
so
end?
much time talking about that. So I think we actually consulted with an ADA consultant, and I don't have the exact number, but I know we landed on the number. If you think you're a senior, feel free to apply. I'll advocate for you. But,
I usually
You're
try
not
to ask
old
for the
enough,
discount.
forget it.
I'll find out for you.
Okay, thank you very much. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Any other questions?
I thought it was at 55 to see.
Thanks, Bill. Thank you very much.
August 50. Yeah.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
55.
Gets
That
any lower.
is all of our reports.
Point of
We're gonna
order,
move on
Madam Chair.
now to the
Point of
information
order,
action
Madam Chair.
item. I'm sorry.
Is the chat enabled today? I thought you usually disable it.
Yeah, and I forgot to do it. There's no one in there. However, if it becomes.
There's
chatty.
one, but
It was Steve Lambrides putting his email address in. I will sort of monitor it. Okay, our first item is, yes, this is the Redwood Village Rolando Park projects. There's two of them. They're going to be occurring within just a couple of months of each other. And they're going to make Redwood Village, Rolando Park, and College and University Avenue very interesting for the next 2 years. So I'd like to welcome James Peel and Jody Chung from the city of San Diego, and they're going to give us a brief presentation. Two projects, really. James? Jody?
Yes. How are you all? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Can I share my screen?
You should be able to, James.
It's saying host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, try now.
Okay, there we go. Just a sec. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
Oops.
He disappeared.
looks like James.
There he
Oh,
is. Yes.
Sorry about that. I had a technical difficulty.
yeah.
We don't know anything about that. That's all right.
Yeah, that would be new stuff.
Okay, let's try this again. So you can all hear me and see my screen.
Yes.
Uh-oh. Sorry, I keep getting technical difficulties.
Hey, James, let me try and pull it up myself. Sorry about this, guys.
Okay, we could talk about the Super Bowl if anybody wants to. How was that game?
No,
I keep seeing this screenshot light up.
yeah, it's. I don't know if this is James or Joe. Yeah, we're having trouble.
Still have an issue, James?
Yes, every time I start sharing my screen, it shuts me down.
All right, let me give it a shot. How's that?
Sure.
Is that good? Everyone can see that?
Yes.
Let's see.
You want to put it in screenshot? We don't see the slides on the side.
Oh, that's right. It's crashing on me too.
Maybe they
It's a
can
big file.
send
I will
you-
say that. Maybe it's too big.
Send
Yeah.
you the file.
Can you screen share then? Yeah. Oh, that's it. Should be.
Didn't download it. Download it.
Sorry about that, everyone.
Yeah, it's. I noticed that's a pretty big file. So
Be open online somewhere? Do you have it in another location on a server where you could open it there?
or we could reschedule this for next month if we can't get this done this
Can they
time.
briefly describe?
I would have to say, you know, as a technical thing, you're not loading the file when you're sharing your screen.
Yeah.
It's the bandwidth of it's the bandwidth of your internet that's causing the problem, possibly. Because the file is still on his computer. He's just showing you his screen, and that's the problem.
Okay. Thanks, Sonia.
Mm-hmm.
No, wizard, thank you.
Well, maybe some verbal background and description.
Yeah. Can you just present a little bit, James, without the slideshow? I don't have it on my laptop here tonight. It's at home.
Yeah, I can do a general presentation without slides.
Okay.
Do we all
Right.
have it?
It's at home. I'll have to send it out to you. Dan.
All right. So my name is James Peel. I'm a project engineer with the city of San Diego. I'm the Redwood Village Rolando Park Improv 1 project. My colleague Jody can tell you a little bit more about her portion when I finish mine. This project is generally located on the south side or south of University Avenue, between Cartagena Drive and Loma Alta Drive. It consists of the, Cartagena and Bonillo Drives, Vista Grande, Loma Alta, Vivian, Judy Lee, Celia Vista, Hope, Bing, and Butler Streets. Our project will replace and install approximately 1.56 miles of new 8 and 12-inch water mains. This is replacing the existing 4, 6, and 8-inch water mains that's currently located within the city's right-of-way in the pavement. We will also be replacing approximately 1.75 miles of new 8 and 10-inch sewer main. This is to replace the existing 6, 8, and 10-inch that's located both in the city's right of way and within existing easement areas. We're installing these new mains to meet current standards and improve maintenance requirements. That's just a general map identifying this project scope. The green line represents sewer and the blue line represents water. Okay. Some more project details. The project scope also includes some sewer segments to be installed using trenchless methods. We will be abandoning some sewer and water mains that are currently within existing easement areas. Impacted curb ramps will be improved to meet current ADA standards. We will also be resurfacing the impacted roadways that are impacted from the trenching. This project's environmental impact result was a notice of exemption with the categorical exemption per CEQA state guidelines under the sections for existing facilities, replacement or reconstruction, and new construction. Our estimated construction cost is approximately 10.7 million. What you can expect. This project will include notification by the contractor prior to them starting their work. Services should be maintained throughout the construction duration, and access should be maintained for all homes and businesses. We're estimating construction to begin this summer, with it concluding in the summer of 2026.
On vacation.
Keeping the community informed is a priority for us. So including this presentation to you now, we sent a fact sheet to properties that are within the area of our project. That was back in mid-January. We also sent out notices to properties that were impacted by new fire hydrants, air valves, or fire service outages. That would have been in late January. And as I mentioned earlier, impacted businesses and residents will be notified prior to the start of construction. That concludes my half of the presentation. I will hand it off to Jody.
Because this is a big project.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? All right.
Yeah, we can. Thank you, Jody.
Okay. I guess we can share the same screen. I am afraid to try to share. Hi, my name is Jody Chung. I am a project manager from the City of San Diego Engineering and Capital Projects Department. I will be taking over the second half of the presentation today to bring you project updates on actually two projects. My project is Redwood Village Orlando Park Improv 2. You have just heard from Improv 1 from James. And I also have Redwood Village standpipe main replacement. So the majority of the Improv 2 is shown in light blue here. And at the upper left-hand corner, the orange and the teal is a small project standpipe main replacement we are bundling with the Improv 2 construction contract. And the project for the Improv 1 is actually on our upper right-hand corner, sharing the Orlando Boulevard intersection. So we don't have direct conflict or access conflict. So the project limit is south of University Avenue, north of Streamview Drive, east of 60th Street, and approximately west of Orlando Boulevard, but we don't have scope there. More properties on the west side of College Avenue, right in between, but we do have some streets on the east side. We can go to the next slide. So in terms of project scope of work, we are replacing approximately 3.89 miles of 6-inch and 8-inch water main with all 8-inch water main. The service life of the water mains are about 75 years, and the existing mains were mostly installed in 1951 and 52, so they are getting to about 70 something years. So definitely end of their service life and good timing for replacement. This project is part of the city's plan to upgrade aging infrastructure to avoid pipe failures and easier maintenance in the future. We are abandoning 0.42 miles of existing water main, and we do have installation of more than a few dozens new fire hydrants in the community to bring infrastructure up to current standard and code. The current standard and code is 350 feet between fire hydrant for business area and 450 feet between fire hydrant for residential area. And for fire hydrants that we don't have to add, we will be replacing them along with water services for the property and with the water mains. And we do have several new curb ramps that is an area that needs to be bring up to current standard and code, and replacement of a few curb ramps. And the impact letter of the fire hydrant and the curb ramps were sent to impacted addresses, properties, business, and school. Okay, we can do the next one. So as far as the stem pipe main replacement project, we can see the photo here. The work for that mainly is on the 60th Street. This is the 60th Street corner of University Avenue intersection. So towards the intersection to the middle of the block, we have 341 feet of new 12-inch water main, and then we have some replacement of 8-inch water main into 12-inch water main all the way up to the apartment complex at the end of the street. We will be abandoning some 16-inch cast iron water main 0.16 miles on the side of the apartment complex. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So as the same as in Prof 1, we will be providing construction notice when it's time for construction near the properties, and we will be maintaining service and access to the home and businesses. We do have a community liaison for this project to log your questions and concerns and get your answers back in a timely manner. So we are a couple months ahead of the Improv 2 project. So the projects are in advertisement right now. So we are looking at a construction start off about May or June this year. The construction duration for the project are 18 months, and right now at 10.1 million cost estimate. We don't expect night work in the residential areas. And now we can take questions.
Great, thank you, Jody. James, questions from the board first, and then I'll to the attendees. Bob?
Yeah, I have a question about, do you anticipate any street closures during the process? And if so, how will this be communicated to the residents?
See. Hi, everyone. This is Jericho Gallardo, the project manager for Redwood Village Rolando Park Improvements 1. I don't expect road closures, but if there are road closures, residents will still have access to their homes. So it would only be closed if necessary.
Anyone in person on the board? Questions? Richard, your online question?
Yes, thank you. In these plans, was there any consideration of planting trees? Or is it all infrastructure?
At least for my project, for the improvements one, it's all infrastructure.
Yes, I agree. We don't have trees planting.
Is there a problem with planting trees there, like with roots, working themselves into the potable and the sewer lines?
Hey Richard, this is Jericho. So I have seen root intrusions from trees in the neighborhood. I think that's one of the big concerns with some of the sewer pipes that are in this neighborhood. Is a lot of these full-grown trees are intruding to the sewer pipes. Roots going into pipes causing blockages. So typically we don't plant trees. We don't. I know in the improvements one area in Rolando, there aren't any areas for us to plant trees. There's very limited sidewalks. So for at least the improvements one project, we are not planting any trees.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Richard. Daryl.
You want to help me understand why it's 18 months?
So is that, you must be talking about the improvements two project.
We have
Whatever number you want to call it, 18 months.
we have a relatively big area at 3.9 miles, so we will be going through the streets. It won't be the whole area at once.
It just progresses. It's like the beginning part won't take 18 months, but
Well, if everybody's
did you
happy
see all
with
those
it, I'll be quick.
streets? There were lots of streets.
I have one question online and then we'll have any questions back there. Roberto, let me, Sonia's online. Sonia, you had a question?
Sorry, trying to get unmuted. I believe one of my street will be affected by this change. How does that affect our property? Is there a need to go all the way up onto our property? Or does it just go to the sidewalk?
So Sonia, this is Jericho Gallardo, project manager for improvements one. So for the infrastructure replacement, typically for sewer laterals, we go up to the property line to install cleanouts. And for the water mains, we actually replace up to the water meter.
Okay, which is on the sidewalk, right?
Correct. Most of them are in the sidewalk, yes.
Okay.
Right. Any other questions online? And any questions here for Billy? Roberto, you had a question?
Yeah, thank you guys so much for presenting. It's really important that you come out here and show what we are all doing as a city. Question for me, got a constituent on Bing Street, Mr. John, who has his road slanted, and floods his house. So my question to you is once the sewer lines are fixed, is there any plans for any sort of temporary stormwater or diversion, or have you guys looked into maybe possibly resurfacing the whole road so that it's not slanted to his house? I don't know if you guys are aware.
So drainage, I know drainage is a big issue for the streets. It's not typical for the sewer and water projects to go in to regrade streets. That's typically a transportation department issue. We do plan to resurface and overlay. So when it comes to a point when that happens, it's a discussion we can have with the contractor.
Yeah, perfect. Just because they've done it, I think 5 times, and it's gone to the point where it's like it started off normal, and then they did overlay and all that.
Yes.
So there's light slanted like that. So just want to make sure that we can get that right for them.
Definitely.
Okay. I think that's it. Thank you very much for presenting and making our lives exciting for the next couple of years. Because it really is about 1/3 of Rolando Park, and it's literally about half of Woodwood Village. Big project for all of us, but who's complaining about infrastructure?
That's right. We can't complain.
He loves that infrastructure. Thank you so much, Jody and James and Jericho.
Thank you,
See you next
everyone.
time. Sure.
Thank you,
there's
everyone.
another-
Thank you for having
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. Okay. Moving on, we have our first action item. We have a member at large position open. We have a candidate who's interested. I've known Bettina for a couple of years. She's my partner in crime in organizing community cleanups on University. I think she's a good candidate. And some of you know her and could vouch for her good character, but I'll let Bettina say a few words in her behalf.
Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate it. I would love to join the Eastern Area Communities group because I've lived in Redwood Village my entire life. And I'm very invested in this area. And I just want to make everything better for everybody. And I really want to work with the city and learn more about that process so that I can be a better advocate for our communities. And I think that this group is an excellent place for me to be.
Works for me. Thank you. Any questions, comments? Yes, Danielle.
Is this a nomination from the chair or do we do a motion and a second?
We'll need a motion in a second.
To fill an empty spot. So I'll make a motion to accept Bettina's candidacy to the Eastern Area Planning Committee.
And Alita seconds. Roll call vote. Bob?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Daryl?
Yes.
Alita?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You do have to be here in person next month.
You will see me in person.
Good things come from it.
All right.
I'm just not over.
Thanks, Bettina.
Thank you.
Where is she gonna sit?
We're getting another table next.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Scooch out. Another table this way. Okay. All right, next action item. This concerns a letter to the CEQA Compliance Program Manager with a list of our concerns for the Fairmount Fire Station environmental impact report. Danielle was there, Lita was there, I was there, Vicky was there, Daryl was there. So,
At the scoping meeting for the EIR.
Meeting for the EIR, yeah. They are giving us a little bit of extended time because of the flooding to submit our concerns. So we can submit comments and we can also send a letter directly to the super manager. I think I'm probably not the best person to have written the letter because I'm not an environmentalist, but I tried to address some of the concerns that we heard from other people. So it's open to discussion. Not even sure we need to send a letter if it would depend on what what the board wants to say. I'll start with Danielle.
Thank you. So the 3 paragraphs that you have, Lynn, are perfect because they do it in very simple terms. We don't want a scientific kind of a thing to gum up the works, I guess is a good way to say it. But I would like to propose one more bullet point because in the second little paragraph, you said, on behalf of our communities, we oppose this project that will negatively impact blah, blah, blah. So at the bottom, I would like to say, we support evaluating the site that recently became available at the former Mid-City Police shooting range on Federal Boulevard. You don't just want to say in a letter, we oppose this, that's it,
Yeah.
drop it. You want to give them an
No,
option or
no,
a suggestion or something saying, and have it in writing that this isn't in those options that are in the scoping meeting of the EIR because that former police shooting range site just became available recently. So that's my wording, and I'll pass this to you if you want to have
Yeah,
it.
I would love it.
That would be fine.
Yeah, here and right at the same time. Laura.
Did that consultant that gave us the presentation give the presentation to the city?
We didn't give a
he's
presentation.
He's a consultant to Leisure Land.
Did they provide the city with his review and his information? Because it really sounds quite daunting and damning from the information we received from him. How much lower grade it is, how there's gonna have to be all this fill and cut work. It sounds like a really extensive project, and I think they really need to see his review.
It's up to him to send it in, right?
Yeah, that's up
We
to
can't
them.
send it because we've seen it and we were impressed
No,
with
he would
it.
be sending it from them. I think he represents leisure land,
Mhm.
so he would be sending his in his own report and comments.
But
They need to see that.
I have seen that it's proposed to be the most expensive fire station in the history of San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, it was so extraordinary that the city needs to see it
Well,
one way or another.
yeah, I don't disagree.
Call the lawyer and tell him that, Laura.
You can make comments.
Okay.
You know, the link is still there. You can make comments. We will be taking comments through the end of this week. So.
This seems like so illogical after seeing his report.
Yeah.
Not all of us have seen it, though.
You didn't see it?
I just sat at the table and wrote my paper. You know, that was their presentation. Here's a paper, give us your comments. You could have done that at home. There was no presentation to the group.
Oh, you're talking about, but Paul was here last summer.
Okay.
And did. a
Yeah, it was
presentation.
great
I
presentation that
must
we
have missed.
saw.
I might have missed it. All right.
Okay.
You want
John,
to
did
share
have
it with
comment?
me? Laura?
My comment was regarding location. It relies, but nearly half of the area that it's supposed to be serving is on the other side of bridge. And in the event of some serious compromising of that bridge, an earthquake, a flood, basically the fire trucks will not be able to get over to City Heights because you can't go Fairmont. There's no other way to get across the canyon. So then you have to go south, get on the 94, then go over another bridge that crosses right over the baseball fields, and then get off at Home Avenue and go up. Well, that bridge is not functional, the one for Home Avenue, then you have no way of getting over there.
But
So it seems like kind of,
yeah,
it seems like not counting all the you know, the fact that they're putting fill into a canyon, which we've seen is like really crappy engineering all over the county because you always get slides. You know, it does seem like there's a better way to do it and a safer place to do it.
And
If you're gonna have a fire department, it should be centrally located so there's at least a few ways for the fire trucks to go in case one of them's blocked off.
So do you think the federal site at the police shooting range is a good spot? Because I've heard they have better response times if they started there.
You know, not knowing, I didn't look at that area.
Okay.
But I will say that, you know, I looked at Google Earth for about half an hour today and I was like mapping out the ways you could get over there. And, you know, if that bridge is compromised in any way from a flood, if there's some kind of erosion, the base of the bridge, or even if there's like a fire in that canyon, all that kind of stuff could make that bridge unpassable. Growing up in East County, I saw it all the time when there are big floods and fires, roads get closed, so they wouldn't be able to go anywhere. If there's an earthquake, you know, and which it happens then too, stuff falls in earthquakes, bridges do fall.
Yeah.
And that would make that place completely worthless. It should be in another more central place with at least multiple ways for the fire trucks to go. And that's my suggestion.
I think the option is that.
Richard, you want to comment?
Yeah, just very quickly, and I wrote a letter to the mayor over a year ago, I think, about the same thing that what John was talking about. And Danielle, thanks for bringing up the Federal Boulevard location. It makes perfect sense for that fire station to go in there. And I didn't even think of what John was talking about the bridge, but you know, if that fire station is intended to serve City Heights, it's much better located on Federal Boulevard because right off the bat, you're in South Fairmont Park. You could go up Home Avenue, you're in North Fairmont Park, and you can go over the bridge into Azalea Park. And that's where there are some very interesting people that live in Azalea Park. Pretty vocal. And I already checked with Caltrans, and they said that bridge that goes over the 805 or whatever it is, 15805, they said that was designed, approved, and built to spec to handle heavy trucks, emergency vehicles. So it's a perfect place to put that. And you know, in my letter to the mayor, I also brought up the backup that a fire station there on Federal can serve Stockton. It can serve Golden Hill. It can back up there. So I think we're pretty much agreed that that's the best place to put it. My concern is that there are some people around who really want that fire station there. I don't know why. They're not coming forward and saying why, but they really want that fire station there. And I'll finish with this. If that fire station goes there, I would name it the Webster Fire Station because it's not in City Heights.
That's a good point.
That's what's that?
So, I have a question, Richard, if I could,
Yeah.
to ask, who do you think wants it there?
He doesn't.
Good question.
No,
Very good question. And I don't have the time to do all that, you know, investigation. But if you look at the location, okay, first of all, there's something called, and Vicky Church can tell you about this. There's something called a Fire Persons Association, and I think they are the ones. There's one group that wants it there. I don't know who they are, and I'm also looking at Hollywood Palms that they
Okay.
want it there too.
So do either of those groups live in the neighborhood? Because I did go to the last CHAPC meeting and they didn't even know about the scoping meeting. I'm just putting it out there.
Oh, you mean City Heights?
City Heights Planning Group.
Oh, the one we went to. Oh yeah, they weren't even there. But my understanding, well, I don't want to take up too much time. But I was there at some meeting like 2 years ago when this came up, and this is when Russ Connolly, I don't want to mention, well, under his direction, and they were really adamant that they wanted that fire station there.
But what I'm
And-
telling you, Richard, is that at the CHAPC meeting just the other Monday, a week ago yesterday, they didn't even know, CHAPC, the whole planning group, didn't even know about the scoping meeting.
Yeah, that's a pretty serious problem. Yep, it is. It is. I do know though that when they presented the fire station to the City Heights group, they were really adamant. They wanted that fire station there. Now, Russ is gone, other people are in, and things might have changed. I don't know.
Richard, do you think that the City Heights Planning Group back then just wanted a fire station and that was the best option at that time?
That might be. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That might be, but it's, you know, things have changed. And
exactly, they've changed.
So how can we put together a letter though that gets right to the point that we're not in support of the location?
It says it right there in the second paragraph.
Yeah,
It's like,
but you know,
perfect.
some of these other bullets here, I think are really pretty
Should we
weak.
go ahead and work on that a little?
Yeah, I think it needs a little bit of work.
Okay. But I like the idea of offering the old police.
I would
site.
like to make that a motion if I could, and then if everyone's okay with the language, you know,
Yeah.
it's just one simple sentence that says we would like that to be looked at in the EIR.
As an alternate
Let's
site.
see what other changes and then we'll just do all of our changes at once. You know?
Oh, we're gonna finish it up tonight. Okay.
We have a deadline. It has to be done by, submitted by Friday, Danielle. So if we're gonna make changes.
So if you want to make it a little stronger, maybe Bob, one of the other things I found out when I looked up the APN number. Was that it's also in a very high fire risk area.
Well, those are the sort of things I
Not
think that
just
we
a
could
high
state.
fire risk.
Yeah.
Or fire.
Because, you know, I mean, you know, tying hydrology to the flooding, I don't know that that's necessarily, you know, I believe that the flooding was caused by, you know, a clogged channel. I mean, it's under designed and we have a lot of taped areas, but you know, this construction itself, they're gonna install mitigation measures to accommodate the water flow, you know? So I don't think it's a really good argument for us.
But to have it,
But it's in a floodplain. We could say that. It's in a 100-year floodplain.
just the
Yeah.
topography makes it an unsuitable site.
That too. I mean, all of the engineering that needs to be done is really cost prohibitive if you choose a location like the old shooting range.
It's
Yeah.
flat and it's ready to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And it has access to all these other areas
Right.
that need it.
Yeah, and like the point that John makes about the bridge, if the bridge is out, it can't serve the other side of its service area, right?
Exactly. It's really, really poor planning on somebody's part to
Yeah.
rely on that
And
bridge. and
one way in, one way out.
Right.
And then all the extra money, it just seems like,
Okay, but those things are not part of what we have to turn
EIR.
in for.
oh, it's
scoping.
environmental for scoping
Yeah.
only? Okay.
So we had like a list of topics. These were 3 of
Oh,
the
okay.
12.
Yeah.
So. I
Then what
chose to
about habitat?
address things that I,
Yeah.
well, I think I mentioned their habitat.
Yeah.
So,
But I
Endangered
mean-
species, anywhere endangered species that little.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Choice Creek watershed.
but
And you can't move it, you can't touch it.
Mhm.
I know
Always
that.
Lake is a good example.
Wait, please, Canyon Lands and the Sierra Club are addressing those points.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Right,
okay.
right. So ours as a planning group should be just on planning, site location, land use issues.
So should we take out the other ones then? Although
We should just list them in a thing. These are our concerns.
Just some
Topography,
bullets.
hydrology,
Yes.
MHPA,
Yeah.
high
Mhm.
fire. And put it all in one sentence, just a list of these are our concerns and then we oppose it. These are our concerns and this is where we'd like it moved to.
Or at least have that be one of the alternate
Options.
choices.
Yeah, because at the scoping meeting, it said, nope, we're not looking at that site. We decided 2 years ago where we were gonna look.
Okay. What else did you rattle off?
Oh.
Dave?
What do you have written?
I have MHPA, I have access.
Just that we
Oh,
have a new
Floodplain, it's
alternate
a
site.
very high fire.
Yeah, fire,
The topography is ridiculous.
yeah. That would be,
I mean, just drive on Choice Parkway and.
It's in
how
the
many
Choice Creek
times
Watershed Park.
Does landfills turn into a big dip?
Okay, so where are we at letter wise? So that I can sum this up, you have something with the.
Is somebody writing about that? It's a very dangerous corner there.
No,
Where
because
traffic?
that's actually, I don't think, it's not one of the categories.
It's not even a
Traffic.
corner, is it? It
No, it'll
kind of
be.
like on the
It's-
road
It's
and
not in that corner.
Yeah.
Daryl,
It's in the wrong place.
it's a bad
Yeah.
place, yeah.
Lynn,
Yeah.
Daryl,
Sorry,
A little history for everybody. That corner was owned and operated by Decisive Testing. It's a biological company that has moved up the hill and down the street. And it's a much bigger facility. They wanted to sell the land to the city. Okay, so Webster, Steve, Margaretta and one others, we went down before city council, full council, and we argued. We did not discuss or talk or try to be polite. We argued the mere fact that there wasn't enough land to do nothing with. That's the reason why they were selling it. So when the hearing was over with, the city agreed to sell it. Okay, so when they sold the land to Decisive up the street there, then it became a notice of record that you can't build anything on it ever. That was the final settlement. So this group of people that's running around here the bridge honkers, the ones that put their little freeway thing in for $8 million or whatever they did. These people come in and they bum rush the canyon. That's why groundwork has been involved, and everybody that's associated with groundwork or environmental sensitive lands with that canyon down to there. Richard can tell you this. So here they are, they come up to invite the community to hear what we're saying. They didn't want to hear what you had to say. They told you to write something down on a piece of paper and pass it out. That was their motive. And when this was brought up about the sale of the land, they got real quiet. They started disappearing and going home. That's what happened. So they figure that they can keep beating you up, beating you up, beating you up, and you'll roll over and say yes. But that gun range down there, and also the K9, they moved both of them to Poway. Both of them. Now we could have used the dogs, don't get us wrong, but they moved them. They moved them without discussing with anybody. You see, we have a mayor right now that doesn't have to tell anybody anything. And he goes along with the club members that's up there in that other little city up there. Those are club members up there, and that's what they do. Okay, so they're pushing for what they want, and it has nothing to do with that. It runs over Webster, it runs over Oak Park, it'll run over anybody in a steamroller, and that's how they're politically doing it.
It's for the backbone.
I'd like to find that piece of paper that says you can't build anything on that parcel.
Yeah, me too.
An end to it.
It's real easy.
How long ago was that you guys all?
This is 3.5, 4 years ago.
There's an article in the Reader about that whole project. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, it said the most expensive fire station in the city.
Exactly. And it said that there was like a streamlined CEQA thing that's not normally used, but so they could get it through faster without a full review. And so I didn't.
But to the mayor's credit, the mayor said, and D9 said you have to do the full EAR.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Well,
they said it, but
they're doing it, but they're just steamrolling it again.
I, as the mayor, I speak with a forked tongue. That's how he deals.
We're getting off track a little bit.
One quick question on that, can't build on the land. Do you remember if you went to subcommittees first, or was it city council?
It was a full council.
It was the full council that all that
Full
transaction, okay, thanks.
Are you gonna do a public?
3.5, 4 years ago? I'm
Public
gonna
record?
look.
Okay, thank you.
then what date does the letter have to be delivered? It was today or yesterday, right?
Yeah, the 16th is our deadline.
The 16th. So they moved it 4 days ahead.
They did because of all the
flood.
flooding and
Okay.
stuff.
It's a little day, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they can be part of the flood next time, huh?
Holiday?
MLK
Just a
Day,
second,
right?
please. Question from Vicky.
Well, a comment, the flooding. If you put a a fire station or any other structure on there, all the rain that's gonna go there will go to the non-permeable surface around it. And I believe he said it was about a 14,000 square foot facility. 1,000 square feet generates 620 gallons of water if anybody's got rainwater tanks. It won't be absorbing into it. It's gonna go down to Choyas Creek, and we've all just suffered from the flooding from Choyas Creek. And we don't need to see that happen to the folks who are downstream from that particular area, or that additional water washing off and then elevating up and flooding out leisure land more than what it may be subject to down the line. The other part is with the steep slopes that are there. City of San Diego in the past, you couldn't build on steep slopes like that. So I just throw those couple things in there. It's not a good site for it. But if you do choose your Home Avenue site, if there was where the
Federal Boulevard,
firing range was.
Federal Boulevard.
Yeah, that's
Federal Boulevard. Federal Boulevard. There will have to be some environmental mitigation, which
course.
can be
Nothing
done,
free, no.
but it's a doable thing.
It's a doable.
Thank you. Roberto?
Yeah, so thank you for this. John, Council President made very clear that we need to find an alternative. Made it very clear that we need an alternative, number one. Number two, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to build something if we can't staff it. The chief has made it very clear, the reason why they're in such a hole with UCSD, they built the exact same similar thing. They're paying 10.5 million in overtime.
That's it.
Because they cannot staff that. So we made it very clear, and we're having I'm having a lot of meetings with a lot of different things this week with the bring up of the flood. That is actually a meeting with SD Fire, the chief captain, to make sure and hear him out saying like, is this something feasible? Can you staff it? If not, okay, we'll go to another alternative. We'll wait, right? The last thing we want is to waste taxpayer dollars, okay? For something that literally might just be like, you know what, just kidding, we can't build. Or you know what, just kidding, we can't staff it. And then we put another, right, it costs whatever, 10 or 12 million, then you throw on another 10, 12 million for overtime. You're doing double work than what you need to do.
But when is this meeting?
So the meeting that I'm having with staff is just basically with me, but I'm hearing all these concerns and I'm gonna be bringing it to the forefront because I do think it's important that they also, right, like some of it's environmental, but again, it's the other section is operations. Like, how is this gonna be impacted, right? Do we have it on Federal Boulevard? Right, I've been through Azalea Park with that bridge. Is it gonna come more time, right? We don't know. They need to make an assessment, right? Before we start jumping into conclusions on this site being like a good site, we need to make sure we find alternatives, make sure we do a full EIR, and make sure we do a full transparent process, because again, the last thing we want is a fire station that's not serving the public. That's the last thing we want.
Did you ask him if response times will be better?
Most expensive to save 40 seconds. That was on the fire.
Yeah, that was 7:30 to 8:10.
Yes.
So could you ask
Like I
him,
said,
Roberto,
that
if,
falls out, it's gonna be, add 20 minutes on it. This
40
seems like a
seconds.
weird place to put it. I don't wanna get too much of that. Sorry. Dan.
Can you ask him to do an evaluation of response times at the
Yeah,
alternate side
absolutely.
that we want?
Yeah, I'm absolutely, and I'll bring
But
that
that's
back.
not in the EIR scoping part.
Correct. I'll bring that back next to the meeting. Sorry, there are no work short.
So what I don't understand is how can the fire chief make this bold statement? And you got these minions up under him in these different departments pushing ahead.
They got their marching orders, Daryl.
The mayor controls all departments. That's all I'm gonna say. And what we're doing is trying to make sure, I don't want to take too much time on. What we're doing is trying to make sure that we do this right. Do every single project right. Right? If we need San Diego Fire to come in to present next month, right? To see some sort of response times or anything like that, I'm sure that would be great value to the public. So, we'll talk offline about what we can do.
The fire chief was here about 4 years ago when we were meeting and we had our table up there and we had a room full of people, mostly from Leisure Land.
There you go.
So what, we back now to our letter and what we're going to do. What do we need to add or take out? And are we going to send a?
I got 21 pages I'll send you tomorrow morning. It covers all-
No, Daryl, 21 pages.
Can it be an attachment?
I know, but
Instead of explaining each one of the bullet points, just list the title of the bullet point,
Yeah, just-
hydrology, water, the MHPA, the fire, prone, very high fire risk area, and then whatever the other two, I already tore mine bottom up.
Yeah, I wrote something.
Yeah.
down. So maybe we
Just
just.
make a
need to take
list
the
of
letter
them and not explain them.
Right, and just have a series of bullets.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then,
Without
and then
any
the last one say that.
No, well, the extra costs
This
associated
is
with it.
talking only EIR scoping.
Yes. So we really only need to, it was recommended that we just stick to 6 or less of the topics in the scoping. I tried to stick to 3 that I was comfortable with based on what I've heard and what I know from.
Can you, be sure and add the new alternate site, and we understand it wasn't available 2 years ago when it started, but it's available now.
And it could have better response times.
And the topography and all the cut and fill and
The
buildings
engineering.
that would be engineering that would be required to do that. Does that fall under environmental? Because you're cutting into a natural topography and having to fill, and
Yeah, it
it
does.
was extraordinary when we saw
Yeah.
that presentation.
Richard, one last comment, then we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah, thank you. No, I agree with all your comments, and I trust you guys to write that letter. Separately, Oak Park Community Council is gonna write our letter, but we're gonna be a little gentle on it. And but this was a really good discussion here. I think a lot of the people here brought up some really good ideas, and we're gonna, try to fashion our letter. We're gonna go more with the topography and the water quality aspect. And Lynn, I will send you a copy of the letter, so you can see what we're writing. We're gonna, sometimes you have to pull back a little bit, and sometimes you have to move forward, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Richard.
Okay.
So, back to the letter.
Right, we have to know what we're agreeing to. You're right, Lynn.
Yes.
Sometimes I put poetry in my letters,
Okay.
Okay, so
we have
the three that you have listed were the hydrology, water quality. What were the other two?
recreation.
Recreation.
And land use and planning.
And was recreation part of our scoping?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. And land use.
What were,
This is Act
do you
Stanley,
remember what
right?
the other three categories were?
So if we keep the hydrology, the recreation and the land use, could we add in the MHPA, the fire prone and the topography? Those other three. And then we'll have our 6.
And Lynn, I think a brief explanation wouldn't be bad.
I just don't see how we could get that done.
Okay, then just
tonight.
bullet points.
So are we saying now these are all just gonna be bullet points? We're not saying anything?
Well,
Because
that's
I
what I
really don't
mean.
understand how you can talk about a topic like hydrology and water quality and not explain what your opposition is to that without saying it. It's a floodplain.
Yeah, we probably do need an explanation.
So all of maybe one sentence.
Okay. So,
One or two.
so, okay, that's fine. These could be cut down.
Concise.
But we have to say something then about access, MHPA, floodplain, high risk fire. I mean, not much.
Right. Does environmental include serving the community it's supposed to serve? No? Okay.
Okay. Well, we're sort of in a spot here though, because we don't want to have to meet again to approve this letter.
Oh, true.
And we can't do it online.
Yeah, no.
Oh, we can't do it online.
So we either have to do it
So-
tonight or we have to.
So can we break it up into 2 motions, to add in the last bullet point for, offering an alternative spot to
Yes.
include in the scripting? I would like to move that. And if Lynn, do you want to read it one more time? Just so everybody hears it one more time?
Sure, so we'd be adding a bullet point. We support evaluating the site that recently became available at the former Mid-City Police Shooting Range on Federal Boulevard. And that will be our closing for this.
Would you want to say something about it wasn't available 2 years ago?
No, it says recently available.
Yeah, recently
Okay.
available.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
And I mean, if we touch on these other things, I would just say, they wouldn't be bullet points. I would just say we have concerns about access, but there's no, I mean, without any explanation, it's really.
Right.
No, you
doesn't-
need explanation.
Yeah. So.
I
is this-
second Danielle.
We don't have so. let's
I
get-
thought we were
no,
gonna do it
connect.
separately. We're gonna add one and then we'll figure out a separate motion to add those other 3. No?
No, I want to do them all at once, so we're just have a final thing here.
That we all agree what it's gonna kind of say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we keep in the paragraphs that explain the hydrology, the recreation and the land use,
Yes.
then we could add a small bullet point and say we have further concerns about topography, MHPA and high fire risk.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, just a second. Topography. Could you read that again?
MHPA and high fire risk area.
High fires.
Yeah, it's all in that APN thing.
So
and we,
would that be at the beginning? You want that at the beginning?
No, I would think
And
underneath
before
those
we-
3 paragraphs,
Yeah.
Those 3
after
paragraphs,
road use
further.
further
we have-
concerns, ... And then the last one,
And we support.
and we support the alternative location to be included.
All right.
can we possibly put an asterisk by adding the part about an agreement that nothing should be built on that land if we can find verification? If we can't, don't include it? No? Okay.
No
I
way.
don't know if that's environmental.
Right.
But that's what I mean. If we had proof that that was a
The
statement.
sale
made
of the
before.
property to approve all of that. And that is on record.
Some of that.
That's MHPA,
MHPA.
multiple habitat planning area, MHPA.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily a statement saying an agreement that nothing would be built there.
Okay, let me just read this back because we're keeping what's intact in the letter may. We're adding to that after land use and planning section. Further, we have concerns about the topography, MHPA, and high fire risk. Then we support evaluating the site that recently became available at the former Mid-City Police Shooting Range on Federal Boulevard.
As an alternate or something like that, whatever they call it.
Evaluating it as an alternate.
Yeah.
As an alternate site.
Alternate site, yeah. Because that's part of a full CEQA is the alternate sites.
Alternate project.
Alternate site or site.
I think it's called alternate locations or alternate sites. One of the two.
Well, they just call them alternatives.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just say alternative, please. Okay. Do I need to read this back for
No, I
anybody?
think we're good.
All right.
So that's my motion. We'll include those extra 3.
Okay, so would you restate the motion, please?
So we're gonna amend the letter to include a 4th bullet point to just state we have further concerns about the topography, the MHPA, and the high fire prone area. And then the 5th bullet point will state what I passed to you about the alternative site.
Okay,
I second that.
thank you, Andy. All right.
Yeah.
Roll call vote, please. Bob,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Alex.
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Daryl,
Yes.
Alita,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yeah.
Laura.
Yeah.
Passes. Not objection.
So just remember, you can all write your own letters and put in whatever you want
Yes, you can.
on the 16th. You got 2 days.
You have till then. I encourage everyone to make additional comments.
Do we know if Leisureland is going full board on response to this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they have the attorney.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I mean, I just wanted to make sure because
All right.
they've done hard work and some of it's very eye-opening.
Okay. Yes, so, let's move on to our next action item. So I will email this out, after it's submitted and everyone will be copied on it. And then while I'm thinking about it, I have the presentation on my other computer for the Rolando Park Redwood Village project, which I'll send out. I might send you a link to it because it's a huge file.
Laura, can you send me the thing that Laura? Can you send me the thing the lawyer did? Because I don't.
See what?
The lawyer from Leisureland. Send it straight to me.
Yeah, I'll try and figure it out.
Okay, so our next action item, some of these will go very quickly. People just volunteer. We are going to need to have an outreach committee, I think, to reach our goals to the community and diversifying our board a little bit. And also just the amount of time that it takes to do. I can't run to every library. Just some other people should step up. So I think it makes sense. I did see that another planning group has actually established a board position, the outreach chair, community outreach chair. Or I don't think we want to go there, But I think if we just have a committee, 2 or 3 people who can help. I just listed some of the things that we do need to take care of, that we committed to doing as part of our plan that we turned in. And that's like posting notice, we need to notice it at other than just this place. We want to share that information at the 2 libraries. We think we have an opportunity to have a table at the Rolando Street Fair. So we need a flyer or a brochure to take with us that it tells people who we are, so we can engage a little bit. I thought I would have the website tonight, but it's too busy. So we'll look at that next month. But some people, some people should help post and help keep our website up and active. And just be looking for other opportunities. We should figure out how many outreach opportunities that we can realistically do each year, so that we're out there in our communities, talking to people and trying to engage some younger and more diverse people to join the board. So that's my proposal, is that we have a committee. We don't have to talk about what we're going to do, because the committee would meet later and get started on this. I just need to know if everyone agrees to form a committee, and then I need at least 2 people to volunteer to be on the committee so we can get started. And then we'll talk about that. It'll be a monthly. So do we want to do this as a 2-part? Agree to form an outreach committee, and then we'll be on the committee.
Should we do it after elections next month? Or do we need
That'll
to do
be
it
too
before?
late.
Okay.
If we're going to get a flyer done and be ready to go to the Rolando Street Fair, we should have started last month.
Isn't that in April this year?
Yeah, April 14th.
Yeah. We will have to bring whatever kind of flyer or brochure to the next meeting to be approved by this group before we would start shooting. And we should have started.
Madam Chair, would this be an
Yes.
ad hoc committee for just a year to see how it goes, or
I
is
think
it
it
gonna be
has
a
to be a
permanent,
standing
a
committee.
standing committee, kind
I
of like
do.
project review?
Yes.
Mhm.
I don't see any way that we can do outreach, because we need to be thinking about doing outreach all the time now. So
Yeah.
we might not have something to report every month, but the idea is to get ideas from other people about where we can do outreach, what kinds of events we can present it. So
And it would be for Eastern area,
it
pretty
would just be
much.
for Eastern
Okay.
area, yeah.
We've got lots of communities that are active, so I think we can have a lot of input.
Mhm. It is something we should take to our community council meetings as well,
Right.
and then bring back. So would someone like to make a motion to form a committee, an outreach committee? It will be a standing committee for Eastern area. You make that motion, Alita?
I'll second that.
Could you formally state that motion? Please repeat it. Yes, because I would like to make a motion.
I would like to make a motion
to form a standing committee
for our standing committee
on community outreach
on community outreach and engagement.
and engagement.
See, there you go.
Who's going to second that?
I
Laura?
seconded that.
All right, and roll call vote. Bob,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Daryl,
Yes.
Alita,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
This without objection unanimously. Thank you. So now what I need to go with that are at least 1 or 2 volunteers. And don't trip over yourselves.
I will
Raising your
volunteer.
hand. And people online could volunteer too. This isn't a voting thing.
Because a hand just went up here.
Bettina offered.
Signed up.
Bettina and Alita. All right,
So the standing committee can have members from the public, not just board members?
I'm sorry.
The standing committees can have members of the public, not just board members,
Yes.
just like project review, correct? And we would also have when and where they meet at the bottom of our agendas,
Yeah.
just like project review.
Yep. That have to be properly noticed, be up on our.
So it's Brown Act, a standing committee,
Oh, yeah,
because ad hoc
Absolutely.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Alex, did you volunteer?
No,
Oh,
that
I
was
thought-
Alita and Bettina.
I got that. I just thought
And myself for now. Yep. Thank you. So, yeah. All right, Laura, we are on to your action item, the City of San Diego Inclusion Engagement Guide Worksheet feedback. And this is to take back to the next CPC meeting.
And I don't know if it's going to be on the next CPC agenda or not. But a lot of the things we're talking about with community outreach are things that the city's trying to get more people involved in. And the city has recognized that the planning groups might be a good source for spearheading the community outreach on behalf of the city. And the city has held some different workshops, and they were trying to figure out what barriers there are to public participation. You know, many times we talk about how do we get people to be on our board? How do we do outreach? And for years we've been doing this. It's not something new that our planning groups have been working on. Every year we try and get people to be on our boards. We kind of shake the bushes and see if people are going to participate. And the city is trying to make this a more dedicated effort, and they're trying to be very inclusionary in their effort. They're trying to make sure that some of the ethnic groups that don't ever participate, at least realize they can participate. And they're trying to see if maybe younger people will be interested. And they have they have a summary of the most common barriers to public participation from their outreach, which includes climate equity working group, the mayoral advisory board, and focused discussion groups. And the most commonly identified reasons for people not participating were city staff not understanding cultural and social community norms, discouraged respondents from participating, from feeling that past input was ignored, a lack of broad representation of the community, whether it's race, age, gender, at the public meetings, lack of outreach via marketing. They say door-to-door campaigns. I don't see door-to-door as being much of an option, but then they also have community-led education. And then they said lack of understanding of terminology and language use in the meetings and meeting materials. So there's lots of barriers that are, and then what they didn't mention was things that we've found that many times people are coming from work, going home to a family. They don't have time in the evenings to participate in this. And we've heard many times, whether it's from our neighborhood or other neighborhoods, that older people who are more established in the neighborhood seem to be the only people showing up at these meetings and sticking around, because other people don't have the time to dedicate, or they get fatigue at participation for whatever reason. The planning group people kind of stick in there. And it's not just planning group people. There was a group of women in Stockton who aren't on a planning group who wanted to improve their neighborhood, and they all got together and started a Stockton improvement group. They were all elderly as well. So it's just not elderly, I mean, but you know, over the raising your young children. So, so it's the age and availability of time kind of go hand in hand, but they're trying to see if other people might want to participate. So in all of these, and then the essence of wanting to have this public participation is the city wants to have this, is pushing the equity forward, and they're trying to be more equitable in how things are working in the city. And so they have this worksheet, and they want to know from our groups, our planning groups, what are our thoughts about the principles are inclusion, respect for community knowledge, transparency, clear communication, building true relationships, and commitment to good process. And when I read some of these, it seems like we as planning groups struggle to feel like we're getting recognized for these things too. Because we take time, we try to review projects, all of a sudden we don't get projects to review because they're all discretionary all of a sudden. So there's no chance to participate, and yet they're trying to get more people to participate, but they're taking away the participation we're supposed to want to do. So it feels like sometimes we're tugging at what they're trying to do here and what the reality is for our groups. So they're going forward with that. They want to know if our thoughts on the principles. And like I said, to me, it seems like sometimes we feel like we're beating our heads against the wall. Yes, we go to these meetings, we participate, all our comments get attached to the back of a city report and it says, oh yeah, you can read their comments. But our comments aren't really considered. So that's where the fatigue and the feeling that past input was ignored comes into play, I think, a lot, even for our planning groups. So going forward, we have challenges in our experience and trying to get more people involved. They also would like to know what we currently see missing from community meetings. And this is like Lynn was just talking about, how we can do this outreach that they've just formed with Alita and the Tina. So we need to work on that. And the public inclusive engagement checklist includes data collection, and which is understanding who we are engaging, background and context of the project. Well, that means we have to start seeing projects again to be able to have input on it. So I think one of the things we need as our CPC is to give feedback to the city that we need to see the projects. We need to be able to have input. You know, I don't know that we hear sometimes criticism that the planning groups hold things up, and I haven't noticed that experience in our planning group. I don't know if others do. And I think we work really hard and honestly with developers and come up with a better project when there's community input. So I don't know if they're trying to get back to that, but they, it sounds like it. But if we're gonna have if we want to be able to get people to come to our meetings and feel like they're engaged in a project, we have to be able to have the projects for review. We can't just have vague information without details and people being told, no, you don't have to go to the planning group. This is discretionary. It's, by right. There's no review by the planning group. And that's what we keep seeing right now. Then they also talk about resource planning, city staff to help with supporting the planning group in project operational considerations, stakeholder identification. I thought this was very interesting because it says understand who will be affected by the project and who should be included in decision-making process. Well, that's the people who are going to be living with it. Mostly, a lot of times you'll hear the stakeholders are the developers or these different groups, but they don't live with it after they build it. You know, we do. So I think they need to include our communities much more there. Good expectations and settings and with stakeholders by clearly communicating goals, the engagement process and the decision-making process. Once again, they have to bring the projects, allow us to review projects for us to be even feeling like we're involved. When planning groups are, with everything going on right now, planning groups are trying to figure out how we are going to be involved when everything is by right. Clearly describe project description, goals, process, and different ways to share information. And that would be with the public. One of the things they talk about is not everybody has access to computers, so we can't rely on computers. We have to do more things like libraries. We have to do more things like Little League. Even if you go to Little League and hand things out, the parks, the recreation centers, those kind of places where more people from our community go and are active and make sure brochures and things are out there for them. Effective communications clearly describing the goals, the process, different methods. Oh, I said that. Metrics, how to define and identify measurable and tangible objectives. Public engagement, execution and continuous improvement. That means, reviewing what our activities are and what's working. And if it's working, kind of expand on that and maybe switch things up. And then decision making and reporting back. And then a post-engagement evaluation. And they want to know if we have anything in addition to the things on this checklist. I think the checklist is pretty good. But once again, we need to be able to review things. Otherwise, you can't have people come to a planning meeting and not have anything to review. So I think ours is pretty busy these days. Just a sec, Danielle.
Okay.
And then they say that the planning group members play an important role in city decision-making process. And yet right now we're not feeling like we do. It would be nice if we do get back into a mode where we are more involved, I think. My recommendation is they need to make, from us, would be that they need to make a lot more things come before us for review that the community is interested in. When we do things that matter, stream view, the different things we've had that involve a lot of people, the Sunshine Bernardini Park and things like that. We've had good participation. Danielle?
Okay, two things. First of all, I want to thank you. This is the very first time I've ever seen an agenda in Spanish. I don't know if that's the inaugural one or not.
That's the second one. We made a
Second
commitment
one.
to start January 1st.
Okay, I must have
Second.
missed January, but thank you for that. And to follow up, my question back through CPC is, when are they going to make various languages available for the COW, the Community Orientation Workshop? Is that always in English? If they want more people to join, you got to have it in a bunch of other languages.
Well, then, once again, this is stuff for us to get back to city staff, and that's a great
There you go.
comment,
So-
and I will take that back to city staff.
So we need to get the COW in more than just English.
Okay.
And
We have a lot of Vietnamese.
Vietnamese as well.
We have lots.
they're pushing it all on us to do all of this outreach and everything else, but the city's sitting there and still in the 1970s or what, I don't know.
Well,
you know,
that's not
80s.
quite true because they're working hard on this, everything that I just went through here. They're working hard on making sure, showing us what they recognize and asking us for improvements. So they're
Okay.
making an effort.
So all of their stuff that they put out for all of the plannings, the agendas, everything else, you should have a button to click and say, I'm going to put this in my language that I understand it.
They'll have to select a certain, like 20 or something
Sure.
maybe, but
But,
whatever.
you know, give them a choice other than English.
Okay, I agree. That's a good one.
Then there's the fact that we never get to talk to our planners anymore. Way back in the day when I first started, when you first started, there was a planning person here. And when you had questions, you know, now the
Okay.
chair has to email, blah, 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 and, you know, we never see a planner here.
Okay,
So maybe come quarterly, maybe come at least just once a year,
no, I like quarterly.
quarterly, whatever. And then thirdly, they need, or whatever, fourthly, they need to listen to us when we tell them what our CIP priorities are. We have been telling them for years to do this, do that, whatever, and it just gets filed in the circular file
Well,
cabinet.
I
you know?
honestly think that the budget and how much money is available is the driving factor there.
Sure, but they want our input, and then you know, I'm sure a lot of planning communities, especially south of 94, have been telling them to clean out those channels. CIP projects,
I know.
CIP projects.
You're
you know,
right.
Down Choice Creek, right into Bernardini Field.
The
That's
same
what
thing
held
with
up the last
library.
GDP.
Look at what happened with the
Yeah,
library
exactly.
forever.
They want our input and then they file it away and it gathers dust
And we
somewhere.
even had the money for the storm drains to get cleaned out and fixed at Toya's Lake. And then all of a sudden, there's no money.
I know, that's what happens. Is there-
Alita, I'm gonna talk about that under my report, Parks and Rec.
Any other suggestions for my worksheet here and then taking info back to CPC?
But what do you
I
have
a
so far?
question.
Yeah.
We're trying to get people to participate and we're trying to get people to join this board. And we're talking about people who don't speak English and we're trying to get them to join, correct?
We can get interpreters. That's
Okay,
one of the
so-
things they offer.
And so interpreters would be needed.
Okay.
And the other thing too is I think that one of the things you pointed out there was that people don't understand language and the sort of conventions of these sort of meetings. And I think that that might be a barrier, the way where it's Robert's rules, those kinds of things. Those may be, that may be a barrier to people having, and maybe it needs to be more informal. And
They
just,
won't make it less formal.
well, I think if you push back against it, we're in the 21st century now, and you can just record everything.
No, they won't make it. But
I'm
these-
saying
a
that's
lot
an
of-
idea.
A lot of people, just because they speak a different language, doesn't mean that we can't get Robert's Rules of Order explained to them. And maybe there's even Robert's Rules of Order already in different languages.
Well,
So-
or the city should provide training
Oh,
for.
yeah,
people
that's
who are
what,
doing it,
that's what,
so-
that's what the cow is the
Training.
training that Danielle mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah, but
That's-
training and making, maybe the underlying basic documents that we rely on available in other languages as well, and interpreters.
Yeah, because if you want people, like we all speak English probably as our first language, or at least bilingual. And if you have people who you are trying to get their input and they do not speak any, we have people on the street that do not speak a word of English.
Right, you're right.
And they don't care, they don't participate in the neighborhood, probably because they don't feel like their voice can be heard, because we're not going to understand it.
Well, actually, on this board, I don't know if everybody else has noticed this, a lot of times it's been the experience of different people on this board that people participate after something that's important to them happens, but not until then.
Yeah.
It's when your bull gets gored is what they say.
Yeah.
So that's what makes people engage and want to be involved. Now, other times people, if they know more, would want to be involved, but many, many, many times it's when something's been done in their area and they're just going, how the heck did this happen? And then they find out how to be involved. So
Yeah, but then once they're, what they call pet peeve is finished,
Yep, they're gone.
then they no longer,
Well,
come back.
sometimes-
Then they no longer come back.
sometimes,
Yeah.
but not always.
Oh.
We have to give them the opportunity.
Right.
So
You know what the problem has been all along? And I can easily tell you because of who I am. As far as, I'm Native American. I can be Latina, I can be, Puerto Rican or whatever. And to me, we don't know the city. The city doesn't come to us. They always want us to come to them. We
Well-
do all of the groundwork, the boots on the ground and everything, and then they want us to, okay, so we gotta come together. We don't know the city departments. They don't come and talk to us. They don't want to come and talk to us either. You know, so it's a give and take.
well, that's what they want us to
Look
start
at-
being
look at
able to
what,
do in this.
Rivera doing, Sean. I mean, I follow Sean, on Instagram and TikTok and everything else. I follow all of these people that you probably guys, what are you doing following them? But you know what? They're engaged. They have so many youth, beautiful youth. We have Crawford, we have, a Hoover, we have Lincoln, we have all of this school. And if you guys were not in the cluster meeting last night, the Crawford cluster, who was in there?
I wasn't there.
Somebody was there. You saw what happened, right?
What happened?
It was beautiful.
Oh,
The engagement was great. All of ethnic groups, everybody participated, beautiful. And we should be involved in the cluster. And all of our Oak Park.
well, actually, education is a big
Webster.
issue for all our neighborhoods because our kids are not getting the education they need to be able to succeed. So,
Okay,
but that's different.
Yeah, we're.
Can anybody else give me input on this?
Just on that point of youth, Chapsy does have a youth, seat dedicated to a young person.
They have two.
Is it two?
Yeah, I had an email from Jim Barnavore last night stating how diverse City Heights.
They have 20 people on their board too.
Yeah, and they have two youth seats.
Two youth seats.
So more people in the city should have that.
So can we compile this now into a list that you can take home?
Yep, well, so far, here's what I've got, and please add on. All of the city documents should be in more languages, and that people should get a chance to choose a language. We need interpreters, we need underline documents like the Brown Act and all these different things in other languages, because they're not difficult, but they need to be in other languages so people can read them and understand them. We need a planner coming from the city every quarter. I'm gonna put quarterly, but we can say regularly or whatever. That's what I have so far.
CIPs need to be, you know, they ask us for our opinion and then who knows where it goes. And the cow needs
Better
to be,
CIP tracking.
there you go, CIP tracking, and
Okay.
the cows need to be in various
Yeah, I've
languages.
got cows.
Oh, you didn't mention it though.
Oh, okay, I did underline all the training, so
All the
cows are
trainings,
included, yeah.
What about all of the projects that are going to be?
Need to be coming to our groups more, right?
Yeah, so we can inform the community this is happening and.
Because if there's no projects to look at, you kind of lose interest. Sometimes that's a draw. It's just a project.
Right.
Anything else?
Like Street View.
Anything else?
Like the Street View, look what
Street View,
happened.
there you go. There's yeah. Anything, how about from the public? Any ideas from here?
Oh, I can only tell you from when I was younger, like in the 30s or whatever, I wanted to be part of different groups. And between work, life and everything else, that couldn't happen. But I had the mentors who are around who, you know, inspired people. They said, yeah, when I have the time to then be able to do it. Because some of these people are holding down 2 or 3 jobs in order to do things.
Well, that's what we find all the time.
Yeah, and they do care about their neighborhoods, and I appreciate what you said about the projects. That's what gets me to some of these meetings is what you guys put on your agenda. To determine, yeah, I should be there to hear what's going on. So thank you to all of you for what you've been doing.
Anybody, Daryl, you had something?
Yeah, I have very little. I'll be short with it. After 16 years of being the planning chairman over there in Encano, the one thing that I learned is what you're setting up here now. You have to be a representative downtown where all of the groups get together and sit around and kibitz. And that was districts 1 through 8 or whatever it was. And as you got involved at that level, you got a chance to lobby and find out what they're lobbying about, because it wasn't always in the interest of your community. I'll be honest with you, it never was. It depends on what community and what are they doing. So I found a circle that I could hang out in that had to do with the mayor, the ex-police chief, and a couple other people, because you see, a lot of people don't listen to what you got to say. Well, oh, here comes Daryl. Okay, so I just spend my time lobbying with those who could do something for Encanto. Okay, and once I got that part of it going, then that's when the project, the housing, the schools, and hanging out with the school district and putting pressure on them. And that's how all of that became. And this that we're talking about now will do that over time. It produces fruit. Okay, but there's families, there's kids, and you got to get out there. And I found that I had enemies. I mean, I had a lot of enemies that did not want what Encanto wanted. And so you have that mix up. For example, we're talking about what they want to do with our planning group at one point in time. They want to get the pencil and the eraser and wipe us out, but it depended on who was the president and the chairman. Those are the lobbying steps that I found that it's really hard to move, but you can get it done if you know the right people. So you have to hang out downtown. These folks that came here tonight, there's no excuse for 18 months. There's no excuse for Redwood being done this way. Okay, but it just depends on who's for it and who wants to push it.
Thank you, Darren.
Move that we add some time to the meeting because we're almost to 9 o'clock and we still haven't had our community reports.
So with all this information, do we have to vote now for that? To
How
extend?
close to 9 o'clock are we?
It's not 8:57.
10 more minutes?
I think we need 15.
So do I, because we've got
Okay.
reports.
Yeah, when we have reports, could we keep them to like 5 or so?
Say two.
Two.
2 minutes.
Well, I meant those community reports, but I know this is important because it's CPC, but can we keep it like?
So can I hear a motion to take back this information that we've put together for CPC and our
It's an
comments?
action item for her to
It is
report
an
back?
action item. Because
Oh.
we had to provide some input.
Oh, okay.
If it can come back next month, I will, but I don't think it'd be any different than what we just did.
I thought they were coming this month, is what I recall, but
Move to include all of our input that we just gave to Laura to the CPC.
I second it.
Bob, all right, roll call, Bob,
Yeah.
John,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Daryl,
Yes.
Alita,
Yeah.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Laura,
Yeah.
passes unanimously. All right, last action item, our project manager from the city for the mid-city community plan update wants one representative from this group plus an alternate to be in the working group. I'd like to recommend that we keep it as is now. I think the other planning groups are setting their chair and or as the alternate, I think. I hope other people apply to be in the working group. Alex did say they think they're going to try and schedule a meeting for March. First meeting, we'll know a little bit more. But I don't know if they've been notifying who's on the committee. So unless someone wants to be on this,
Madam Chair, are you running for re-election?
I'm in office for another year.
Okay, great. So I move that our chair and our alternate to the CPC, Laura, Chair Lynn, continue on as the mid-city update representatives from Eastern
For the working group.
for the working group.
Seconded by Alita. Okay, Bob,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Alex.
Yeah.
Andy,
Yes.
Danielle.
Yes.
Daryl,
Yes.
Alita.
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Laura.
Yeah.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. Treasurer's report.
No change.
Could you give us that again, John, please?
$75 and
2 cents.
I like you, John. You're so informative.
I probably got an extra half penny this last month. in interest.
In interest, thank you. All right.
Move
approval of the
to add
minutes.
15 minutes. It's now 9 o'clock.
We need to have a motion for that.
If you extend the meeting past 9 o'clock, I thought we did.
I'll move that we extend the meeting 15 minutes.
Second,
Second.
who seconded?
Well, two of us moved it too, so.
We need, yes.
Yes.
15 minutes, Bob.
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Alex.
Yeah.
Andy.
Yes.
Danielle.
Yes.
Daryl.
Yes.
Lita.
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
All right. Zippity. Okay, approval of the minutes for January. Everybody had a chance to review them? Changes? Corrections? Motion to approve as is.
So moved.
Thank you. Second is Daryl. Thank you. Bob,
Yes.
John,
Yeah.
Alex,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Daryl,
Yes.
Alita,
Yeah.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Laura.
Yeah.
Thank you. Approved as is
So we
without
don't have to go
objection.
through
That is
the
our
line.
last thing that requires me to call your names again. All right, subcommittee reports, please, as brief as possible for everyone. Starting with community updates. Let's start alphabetically. El Cerrito.
Oh my, let's see,
We have a great program.
yeah, 2 days from now, we are meeting, our community meeting at the College Rolando Library, and probably the most interesting thing is we're going to have a terrific presentation entitled Housing Crisis or Hoarding Crisis by Rami Zominsky. I heard her exactly a week ago at the Normal Heights Community Planning Group. Danielle was there as well. It was a great presentation on the problem with short-term rentals. And she goes that you could solve a good chunk of the housing crisis today. 8,000 units could become available if you restricted short-term rentals. And so it was actually, she went through all these statistics and it was actually a good presentation. So she's coming to our group on now Thursday. And I do believe she's coming next month to this group, EACPC. So you guys will hear it as well, I think. So that's it.
Thanks. Yes, she will. She's coming to the March presentation. Mr. Jamison?
Yeah, I attended Normal Heights Planning Group and saw that presentation. I was confused about one thing though. If it's 8,000 units, I think the city's requiring, the state is requiring the city of San Diego to build 108,000 units by 2029, if I understand correctly. So if that would free up 8,000 units, I don't understand how it would solve the crisis. I agree that it would help, but that wasn't clear to me, and maybe I'll get some more clarification when she presents here. Thanks.
Thanks, Paul. All right, thank you. Oak Park dates. Brief, please, Richard, or Alita. Can we do an or tonight?
Yeah, I'll speak very quickly. I won't talk about the library. Alita or Andy can do that. I am, oh gosh, I forgot to say, oh, excuse me. I stopped by as a citizen to Troyes Parkway, and I had a good long talk with some of the residents there because it has become a homestead over there. And their needs are portable toilets and a dumpster. And they told me that they went and tried to use the portable toilets over at the Leah Street bins, and they were refused.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I am, as a citizen, I am going to be contacting the mayor's office and see if we can get some toilets and a dumpster for them, because they told me that they do not like, strewing all that trash around. And an interesting thing about it, when I talk with them, there are people that are actually taking stuff over to them, like trying to help them out. That's why I call it a homestead. And anyway, that's one of my personal projects. It has nothing to do with Oak Park Community Council. It's just me. And then the other thing that does have something to do with Oak Park Community Council is the butterfly garden at the proposed Oak Park Library. I had a wonderful experience today with Cheryl Priotel. She's on a board of Groundwork and is very instrumental in their Earth Lab down there. So it's a very, very good model they have there. And I'm going to be spending more time with them over there because we want to put this in the park. And I want to also put this in our neighbors, our neighbors' backyards. So anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thanks, Richard.
Here, no monarchs.
We
have different things going on, but March 2nd, we're going to have former NFL coach Ernil Durden, who wrote a book at the library at 11 o'clock in the morning from 11 to 1. It's open to the public. I don't have the flyer totally done, but it does look like this, which is, it was supposed to be for Black History Month, but he was asked to go to LA on the date on the 24th of this month because they're naming a nonprofit after him. And he lives here actually he lives in not in Oak Park directly, but in Helix. And we're trying to bring as many authors. And so if you know any authors that are from San Diego and specifically from our area, please let me know because we will be featuring as many as we can in the library. And also we will be having a Carver Elementary and Oak Park Elementary will be doing a photo shoot for the Del Mar Fair banners, which they're going to be featuring the fair. So 20 families and children from Carver, 20 from Oak Park. And you're gonna see banners with the children. from there. And more, but this is,
Okay, that's good for tonight, because we have 9 minutes left. Bob, Rolando?
Yeah, I just want to say Rolando Street Fair is going to be on Sunday, April 14th, and it's from 10 to 6. We're always looking for volunteers, so just check out the website, and I hope we see you all there. Okay.
Is Doug the right person to talk to about a table for our planning group?
I can talk with him about that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, we'll probably end up maybe sharing space.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Redwood Village.
Well, we really don't have a whole lot to report, except for we did a small cleanup day in January from Streamview, basically all the way west of Warren. So we were just darn off school. And that's about it.
Been two quick updates for Rolando Park. This Saturday, we're having our first University Avenue cleanup of the year. We have 4 planned for University this year, and 1 on Streamview and 1 on Xena Canyon later this year. But we usually, we'll be cleaning from College to 69th. We get enough volunteers, otherwise to Aragon. And we'll be meeting at Party House. I have a flyer, which I'll send out if anyone's interested. We always have coffee and donuts, thanks to Bettina. So we have pickers now, we have buckets, we have safety vests, thanks. to-
Yes,
Yeah. So
That's what they-
Saturday?
this Saturday.
What time?
Start the day. Yeah, 8, we say 9:30, but we're usually done by 9, depending on the weather. And fortunately, it won't be raining until at least Sunday. The second thing I just wanted to say, if no one is aware, that flooded out apartments on Vanille Drive, which is in Rolando Park. We have 57 apartments that were flooded on the ground level. So we have somewhere around 90 people that were displaced from the apartments. A good part of the last few weeks has been making sure that they at least have housing, because those apartments won't be ready to be moved back in for another month at least.
3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months.
How much?
And
Takes a lot
yeah.
of work.
So we will be organizing some kind of an event for them, because most people lost household items. So we'll be doing something where we can collect stuff from the communities in the D9 area as they get ready to move back into their apartments. Anyway, that's it. Anything from Webster, sir?
And that I know of, I think the fire department, they did the damage they're looking for.
Okay, yes. Great. Okay, Bob, do we have anything on the tree canopy?
No, I don't believe so at this point.
Okay. I think we're in holding pattern. for
Yeah,
budget
yeah.
hearings.
That's right. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks. Danielle, Parks and Recreation.
Okay, so a couple of you might have already heard, but at the last Park and Rec board meeting, which was on the 3rd Thursday of January, the Regional Park Improvement Fund had several pots of money that they wanted to have us approve. And one of them was for $400,000 to continue on working in the North Choice Canyon on future plans, finishing up phase 1. And one that was not funded was the stormwater study that Choice Lake needed. They only had partial funding, probably a quarter of the funding they needed for the whole study. So if we moved the 400,000 in, they would get almost to the complete amount that they needed for this study for the storm drains. Alita organized something, was it 2 years ago now? We walked with the various politicians, stormwater people, everything, the rangers, marked all 10 or 12 of them and said, could you please start fixing them one at a time? Well, stormwater, you know, as usual, sorry, but as usual, threw up their hands and said, we can't do that. We don't have the staff or the money or whatever. And there's so many of these around the lake. We got to lump them all together, make a CIP out of it. And now we need to study it before we can even figure out how to fix it. So at the meeting that the Park and Rec Board had, there were only 7 members present, which was just barely a quorum. And so when that item came up, I asked to make an amendment to the staff report to move the 400,000 out of North Choyas over to the study for the drains at Choyas Lake. And there were very thoughtful questions asked of me as to why. I explained it's a regional park. It will affect more people. If all the stormwaters fail, the drains fail, then it will for future activities down in North Choyas. That just is a small group of people. This is a regional park. And if the lake shuts down because of the stormwater issues, and this was before January 22nd, remember, so 5 of my members of the Park and Rec Board agreed with us, so it passed 5-2, that we amended the budget to move the 400,000 into the drain study, even though it didn't have a CIP number at the time. So small victory. So that's so I don't know if it was fortuitous or not, but now everybody's talking about we need to fund stormwater more, and so I will thank my board members this Thursday coming up to have the foresight to move some money to where it really needed to be moved and not where staff thought. Anyway, Little League's doing well. We just had our team announcement day for Choice Little League, and our opening day is on the 24th, which is a week earlier than usual. So if you want to come and enjoy some time with Little Leaguers out on a ball field, it's on the 24th at 9 a.m.
Just real quickly on the Joint Mid-City Community Plan Update Committee, we did meet last month. David Modi gave a presentation on how to calculate park points, which might have been an action item tonight, but we've decided to wait until we see the existing conditions report. City planning, before we move forward on that. We not meeting this month, we'll meet in March, and we're not sure about whether or not we will continue to meet. It depends on the composition of the working group for the city. Part of that is to make a concern that the business improvement districts also have some representation in the group. So that's all I have on that. Laura, January CPC meeting?
We talked about, there was a grand jury report on DIF fees that from the city and how it's being restructured and different areas put in questions. The grand jury found that our DIF fee total was total fund was actually double what the city was saying it was. So there was some questions there, and we're trying to get some answers to some of the questions. And I believe the letter is going to the mayor's office to answer some of the questions. And, or maybe the budget analyst as well. And then we also were talking about how the new planning groups are going to look. And there are some areas that have had different groups than the planning group apply to be the new representative group for the neighborhood. I believe Hillcrest was one of them, and I forget what the other one was.
La Jolla.
Oh, La Jolla, thank you very much. La Jolla and Hillcrest. And the question came up about how the city can recognize a group that doesn't have elections from the community to be representing them, because there's the way that the group submitted paperwork was they just had to say, well, we'll have this office and this office and this office without naming who would be there or without having any kind of election process. So that's all trying to be worked through at the city level, because they recognize that it's very different than how we're required to operate as existing planning groups, and that it's not fair for a community to not have say in who their elected representatives on the new board will be. So that's all being looked into.
Before I adjourn, I just wanted to say next month we are having a presentation on short-term rentals.
Zabisky,
can't say the names. It's also election of officers here, so if you want to run for an office, think about it.
Election of board members or officers?
Officers. Sorry.
Chairperson,
Chairperson, secretary.
Oh, okay.
Possibly.
Treasurer. So we're not.
We got it.
This will be.
I thought election of officers was April and the election of board members was March.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Oh, okay, April, sorry, I'm off by a month.
Okay, so are we
So
having
board
any
next.
elections for board seats?
No, June. And then we
It's
will
in
have
June.
everybody back to the March to March alternate
The
year.
year after that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's still June. Okay.
In June, so, okay, sorry, I apologize, April. Alex Frost, from the City Planning Department, who's our project manager for the Mid-City, is going to be here next month for an
Good.
update
Good.
on how that's going. And sometime between now and next month, I'm going to send you all a link to the website. So you can start providing some feedback to our website. Most of the framework is done. But I need some feedback from people on what else we need to have. It's not going to be glitzy, folks. It's common sense kind of thing. So, and we will talk about that next week next month, because we do want to public launch it and start utilizing it. To direct them to our website.
Madam Chair, will Alex be able to answer any questions we might have on Park Points? Will that,
If we have the existing report,
If there-
conditions report by then, yes.
we don't know when that's coming. We
He
just know.
just said this spring.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
thinking.
So that's why we pushed back. We've tabled the Park Point.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
I think we should see what it looks like first. Then.
And then
make a
possibly
decision.
evaluate our own. Yeah.
Double
After
check
that,
their
after we
numbers.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Thanks everyone for staying. Motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you. It's 9:18.
We almost got there.
Promise
Thank
next
you.
month's going to be shorter.
Always
You
promise
can't
that.
promise that. You always say that.
It's a hope anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
San Diego Audubon Society sent a letter regarding their concern.